1 year ago, at the age of 58, I took up strength training after coming across the work of Dr. Stacy Sims. And in this video, I'm going to share exactly what that experience has been like, the different stages of the journey, the body composition changes, the struggles, and the unexpected. Hi, I'm Stacy. I'm so happy you're here, and I really do hope that you enjoy this video. Be sure and let me know what you think down in the comments, okay? Okay, so before I lifted a single weight, I spent some time preparing myself, getting myself set up the right way to try to ensure as much success as possible, right out of the gate. So that was like educating myself better, figuring out my protein and calorie intake for this new level of exercise I would be doing, and several other really important things. And in this video, I'm not going to really spend a lot of time talking about the prep work, the things I did before I actually got started. And the reason for that is because I did a whole other video about that, and I will show an image of it, and I will link to it in the description and also at the end of this video. But I did a whole other video that really talked about a lot of that stuff. And also because I've had so many of you in the comments, say that you wanted to get started and didn't know how, I did create a simple sort of prep guide, just to, like the stuff you do before you even lift a single weight. And so that is called Before the Lift. That's the name of the guide, and I will link to that in the description for you as well in case you want to check it out. The thing is that prep work, that stuff you do before you even start, I believe it's so important to do that work, and it just really sets you up for so much more success. And if you're going to put in the time and the effort, why not set yourself up right, from the beginning? That's the way I look at it anyway. So what I am going to share here is everything that's happened in the last year since I actually started doing the weight training and the cardio workouts. And real quick, before I jump in, any of the resources, because I will be sharing a lot of resources, I always like to do that. Anything that I share or show in this video will all be linked in the description down below the video. So, when you're done watching, if you want to go check that out, everything will be there for you. I thought I would talk real quickly just about two of the things, though, that happened before I actually started, because I do think they're really important things to talk about. And the first thing is just the feelings that I encountered when I was thinking about taking this new way of life on, this big physical challenge. A lot of feelings came up. I talk about that in this other video that I mentioned, so I won't spend too much time here, but I think that is something worth knowing if you're thinking about, taking up strength training or some sort of challenging physical, lifestyle activity. And, oddly enough, there was a fair share of intimidation that came up. I don't think it's so odd, but it was odd to me at the time. There was a certain amount of intimidation / fear that came up, and so much excitement. Like, I was just so excited once I learned about all of this and realized why it was so important. Again, following, reading Dr. Stacy Sims' book Next Level, linked below in case you want to see it. Just a powerful information, and just listen to her a lot on podcasts. Anyway, I got so excited about this, but at the same time, I had a certain amount of fear or resistance or intimidation, however you want to call it, just because I had not done anything like that in a long time in terms of like real strenuous physical activity. I'd never done proper strength training before. But, when I was younger, I was an athlete and I worked out some and all these things. But this was different, 58 years old and having not done that stuff for a while. So I think that's just important to know that's normal in case you're feeling those things. Like, these are just things you have to work through and kind of just push past, and know that you're not alone in feeling that way. I think that's a really, as I've in my comments on the other videos and things, there were so many women that talked about their feelings the same, they felt the same way, or that's what was holding them back. So it's just something to be aware of, and it's something to, and by all means, do not let it stop you if you are, wanting to do all this. So that was one thing I wanted to be sure to mention. Also, I decided to, before I even started, I decided to do a little homework and find a really good program, exercise program, strength training program designed for women my age, and also at my level, which was a beginner. And so I invested in a really good program. I went with the Power Happens program, which is a program designed and built by Dr. Stacy Sims, along with Haley Babcock from Haley Happens Fitness. Haley Happens Fitness, Haley, a Babcock of Haley Happens Fitness has been, she's a trainer. She's been doing incredible programs for a long time. She has so many incredible good programs. But this Power Happens one was a collab between her and Dr. Stacy Sims, and it is specifically designed for women who have not done any strength training, that are perimenopause or postmenopause in age or life stage. And it's excellent. It's truly excellent. I can't recommend it highly enough. Finding a really good program to start with right out of the gate, designed for somebody that is, in your place, whatever that is. It's so important and so helpful, and it gives you so much more confidence to do that. Whatever programs you choose, just find a good one. That's all I have to say about that. Okay, so I'm going to break this down sort of in 3 stages. So in the first 5 months, we'll just look at that first. What I chose to do was to work out at home. I was not confident enough yet in my just my knowledge of the exercises and my stamina and that sort of thing to go straight to a gym. So I decided I was going to start my workouts at home, and I bought some basic, just real basic gym equipment, and I will put a picture up here of sort of my setup that I started with. And really, it's still pretty much, I think I've only added a few little things. So that's what I did at first. And I would highly recommend that if you're feeling like, I just do not want to go to a gym. And I just have mine set up in the corner of my dining room. I don't have I don't have an extra room for, everything to go into. I wish I did. But so if you can find a little corner of your house where you can set your things up, that's the trick, is to set them up and leave them there so they're just easy to grab and use, right? So that's what I did in those first 5 months. And I just really focused on staying consistent and going really slow in terms of like not pushing myself too hard. I did want to hit effort every time, but not extreme effort, right? So the program that I started with had 3 days, 3 days of weight training, full body strength training, not just weights. I should say strength training, because there's different ways to do strength training. It doesn't always include weights, right? There's a lot of body weight stuff. So 3 days of strength training and 2 days of cardio. And the type of cardio that's built into the program I do is HIIT and sit cardio. So that might be something you want to look up if you're not sure what those things are. But it's not zone 2 type stuff so much, which is what a lot of people do. So it's a very specific way of doing cardio for women of my age. Perimenopause, postmenopausal women. It's the most effective type of cardio for us at this stage in life. So anyways, I just focused on that, staying real consistent, taking it slow, and which was challenging, and but just trying to make sure I could avoid injuries, and that sort of thing. I also decided to focus on every single small win I could possibly find, just to stay motivated, right? Because it's slow in the beginning. So I focused on, increased stamina, and my my improved strength as well, which was slow in the beginning, but still I could notice every 2 weeks or so, I could notice myself being able to do a bit more. And I also stayed focused on the fact that I was feeling more competent and just with what I was doing and how to work with weights and just body weight type exercises. That competency felt really great. I focused on how I was improving that way, and also just the improved confidence, those things are what you have to focus on in the beginning, is things like, things you have to look for, the small wins to stay motivated. I think that really, really helped me anyway. And then about the 5-month mark is when I felt confident enough and my stamina was up enough to that I decided I wanted to find a gym that I would like to work out in. And I did do a video about that and that process as well, to kind of find a gym and have the confidence to go into the gym. And I will link to that one down in the description below too, in case you want to check that one out. And that was kind of a big moment, you know, for me to just be like, I feel confident enough and good enough now, and I've got enough strength, like it's time to go to the gym. That felt really, really nice. So once I joined a gym and I kind of progressed from the beginner 1.0 to the beginner 2.0 in my program, this was like sort of the next 3 or 4 months. So we did the first 5 months. This is like the next 3 to 4 months. And so because of those sort of where I'd worked myself up to, my workouts had even more variety in them. I will have to say they had quite a lot of variety anyway, which was great. It made them a lot more fun to do and more interesting to do. But because I was now at the gym, now I could also work in the equipment, right? So I wasn't just doing body weight exercises and free weight exercises like with dumbbells and kettlebells and things. Now I was also layering in the equipment, you know, the use of the equipment. And so that was really fun and interesting to, you know, to get to that point. And so again, I just continued to focus on staying consistent. And I still, my program was calling for, and what I was doing most weeks was 3 days of full body strength training and then 2 days of the cardio. Again, 1 day HIIT and 1 day sit. That is how I broke out my week, and then two rest days. And what was so great about this period was a couple things were happening. Number one, I had gained quite a bit of strength, and so I was able to get further into, you know, get through my whole workout session, right? Within the program I was doing, where before, like the first few months, at least the first few months, maybe a little longer, it's probably the first few months, there were times where, in fact, a lot of that time, I couldn't necessarily get through the entire workout. Like if it was a 1 hour workout, I could work out for 1 hour, but I wasn't getting through all the exercises. Like if it called for, you know, 3 sets, I might do 2 sets, and then, you know, and there'd be a whole lot of different kind of combination sets and things to do. So where if I would do the whole thing, it might take me 1.5 hours. So I would usually be like, I'm working out for 1 hour and I will get through. And I still do that. Like I'm working out for 1 hour, hour and 10 usually. And I will go through as much of the program as I can within that time. And even though I could keep going, like physically, I have the strength and the stamina, I have things to do, you know, so but at least I can, on the days I have the time, around this time, this, you know, whatever, 6 to 8 months in or whatever, I could at least, you know, when I wanted to take the time to do the full workout, I could get through the full workout, like physically I could do it. And that was really, you know, that was really an accomplishment, you know, as far as I was concerned. Also during this time, I was really starting to see some good body composition changes. I was, you know, in the first 5 months, I would say in the first, what was it now? I'm thinking back. My other video goes into the breakdown of this and actually shows a slide with measurements and stuff. But you know, I started to see some body composition change, I think around, if I remember, maybe around the 3-month mark or somewhere in there. I can't remember the exact right now, but anyway, but they were small, you know, and whatever. And then by the time I now get into like the 6 to 8 or 9 month 6 to 9 months in, I'm starting to see more noticeable body composition changes. I've lost more fat, you know, and I therefore can see the muscles that I'm building a little easier and stuff like that. And that is very motivating to be able to, even if it's just like, oh, I see a curve in my arm I couldn't see before, or I see a curve, like a little bit of an indent in my upper, you know, abdomen that I couldn't see before, or whatever. My rear end looks really good, you know. It's like, you know, and it didn't look so good before. Whatever it is, like those things are very motivating. And you have to just constantly look for the things, look for the changes that are happening, because they may not be like glaring all the time, but they are there. Like, you know, even if it's like I lifted 5 more pounds this week than I did last week or 2 weeks ago, that's a big deal, you know. Or, you know, I was able to do 3 more reps than I could do last week. Like, that's a big deal, and you have to give yourself a lot of credit and get excited about those things when they happen. It really makes a huge difference in staying motivated. And the other thing that happened during that time, like I said, I was in the gym working at that. I would do, the way I do it is I do my weight training in the gym, and then I do my cardio stuff at home. Usually do my cardio stuff at home. But anyway, I just really loved going to the gym. I really found that I just really loved going. So now let's talk about the last few months. So I have done now, within the last year, I've done several different workout programs, and I've just stuck with the Haley Happens Fitness programs because I just think they're so good. But the one in fact, what am I working on right now? So I've got, what did I do? I went through Power Happens 1.0 beginner, 2.0 beginner, and 1.0 intermediate, and they also have an advanced one that I'll do. But then I at some point I moved over to, there's one called Learn to Lift Beginner. And I think now I'm working on the one called Foundations. So just in case anybody's interested, those are the ones I've done, and that I get asked that question. That's why I'm bringing it up. People are like, what ones have you done and what ones do you do? But anyways, they're excellent. And again, there's a lot of programs out there. So you need to find the ones that work for you. If you're interested in the Haley Happens Fitness programs, I have been able to secure a really nice discount code for my viewers, so I will put that down in the description. It's like a 20% discount or something like that, and so that helps, when you're buying these programs. So anyway, it's there if you want it. But anyway, so that's where I'm at in terms of my workout programs. And what's been really exciting is that I've worked my way up, I'd say probably for the last 4 to 5 months now. I've been working with doing like the big compound lifts, where you're using all the big muscle groups in your body. You're using the arms, the core, the legs all at once. So working with, instead of just the dumbbells, which I love working with, but working with the barbells, right? And doing back squats and working with trap bars and just doing all different kinds of lifts with that type of equipment. And that has been really exciting and really fun and super challenging, but I love it. So I'm so thrilled to have finally worked my way up to that. I really wanted to do that stuff early on, and I knew better, because that is a recipe for disaster. Because even if your large muscle groups can handle a lot of weight, if you haven't been working out regularly, your tendons and that sort of stuff cannot. So you have to start slow and go slow to build up like your ligaments and tendons, right? The strength in those before you start going heavier. Haley Babcock always says you have to earn the right to lift heavy. And that makes so much sense. You really do, because otherwise you just injure yourself. And I did injure my thumb early on, which was a weird injury. But that was odd. But that's the only injury so far, knock on wood, that I've had, because I did go really slow, despite the fact that, I wanted to do these. I wanted to lift a barbell right away, maybe not with a lot of weights on it, but I was just like, I'll just wait. My time's coming. So when I got there, it was super extra exciting. And I'm still working out, doing like full body strength training 3 days a week and cardio 2 days a week, still the HIIT and sit cardio. And that is basically what works really well for me. And then taking 2 rest days, because you do have to have some rest time in there. That's like really important. And what's exciting in terms of like the improved strength, it just improved so much. I am literally lifting at least twice and oftentimes 3 times as much weight as I could when I first started. Like if I'm doing the same exact exercise that I did when I first started, maybe with dumbbells or something, I'm lifting usually over twice as much, and oftentimes 3 times as much. So that has been very, very empowering and motivating, to say the least. And I've had, of course, in the last few months, even more body composition changes. And I'm going to put this slide up here, and I want to show you, please excuse the horrible outfit, but I didn't think it through the first time I took a picture. It was supposed to be just for me, and then I decided I was going to share it. Oh my goodness. I would have totally picked a different outfit, but that's not the point. The point is that you can see that where my measurements of where I started, and then my measurements around 6 months in, and now my current measurements. And so that kind of gives you a feel for, in terms of body composition changes, what that's looking like. Because the thing is when you are simultaneously trying to burn fat and gain muscle, and that's, well, you're not trying, you are doing that. What happens is the scale doesn't move real fast, right? Not as fast as if you're just trying to lose fat. The scale just moves faster, but then you're putting on muscle weight. So what you need to focus on is the measurements. That's what's going to really, and what you see in the mirror, of course, but the measurements is what's going to really help you understand, if you're losing fat or gaining muscle or whatever. It's a better metric to pay attention to when you're trying to do two things simultaneously, lose fat and gain muscle. So anyway, this is where I'm at so far. And I'd say one of the best things, honestly, so far, at this point in my journey is just that I'm feeling so confident in my workouts, everything from just how to use the equipment to being able, just my stamina and overall strength during my workouts, and just a variety of other things. And what's really important is how that translates into day-to-day life, right? I just feel so much more confident in my my ability to lift heavy things in my day-to-day life and that sort of stuff. And it's such a nice feeling. It's, where before I would always think, oh, I don't know. I mean, granted, we all have limitations. I'm not going to lift anything ridiculously heavy, but I could just lift some of the heavier things that one might normally do, or just like outside doing work in the garden or whatever, where before I would question, oh man, I better be careful about how I lift that because I might screw up my back, or should I lift that? Where now it's with all the sort of normal things around the house and the yard that need doing, I don't even think about it. I just lift it and go, and it's easy for me now. So that is a real, that's a big deal to me. So next, I am going to jump into what the biggest struggles have been for me throughout all of this, and also a few of the really unexpected things that have happened. But before I do that, if you're enjoying this video, I would really super appreciate it if you would tap that like button down below, or leave me a comment, just to let me know what you think. And if you want to see more content about natural holistic wellness for women over 50, just be sure to keep an eye out for my future videos. So there have been a few struggles along the way, and one of those things is, it was more of a struggle early on, but I'm still tweaking it and figuring out ways to even do better. And that is the thing of how to get enough protein into my daily diet to support my body through all of this type of exercise that I'm doing. How to get that into my diet every day, but here's the kicker, without eating excessive calories. So I'm a fully plant-based person. I have been since 2011, however many years that is. And I have no problem getting like just tons of protein into my diet. I could easily hit my protein targets, okay? But the trick of it is doing that while also keeping my calories to where I want them to be, which is at just a tiny deficit from my maintenance level. So because I am still trying to lose, probably just another, I think I've lost, I don't know what it is now, maybe around 15 pounds. And I'd still like to lose another 5 or so probably. And so I'm trying to eat at like a slight calorie deficit from where my maintenance level is. And without eating too few calories, because that'll get you in trouble when you're, well, in general, but certainly when you're doing, this type of exercise and stuff. So anyway, that has been one of the struggles. Again, I've figured it out quite a bit. I'd say I'm 80% of the way there, but I still, would like to even get a bit more protein in. I'm getting in enough protein where I feel good. I'm building muscle. My strength is improving all the time. So I feel like I could do a little bit more, a little bit better. So I'm fine tuning that all the time. The thing that helped me the most early on to like really help me sort of dial in was I used My Fitness Pal app, and that was really helpful to just like sort of like catalog everything I was eating and seeing how much protein I was getting and what the calories were coming out to, and then like trying to slice and dice and but then once I kind of got a baseline figured out where I was, I don't want to use something like that every day of my life. So I'll just, if I'm occasionally, I might do it for a few days if I feel like I'm eating a lot different than I have been like the last several months, and just see where I'm coming in, and then I'll be done with it. And then I'll just, so that's how I use it, but I found it to be helpful. So that was definitely a struggle, and I know it's been a struggle for a lot of people, even people who are not plant-based. I've heard many women, friends of mine, as well as just in the comments and things, they eat meat and fish and stuff and still have that same problem. So it is something to really work on and figure out. The other challenge for me, I sort of alluded to it earlier, but in the beginning, was those first 6 months or so, was just how slow I had to go to keep myself from getting injured. I just wanted to go, like full on and do all the things, do the barbell workouts and, do things like go for like a longer period of time and lift heavier weights right out of the gate. I'm like, I know I could lift heavy, but I knew that I shouldn't, right? Because, and that was really hard for me. That was frustrating at times. And I just kind of had to keep reminding myself, like, you'll get there, like, just do it the way they tell you to do it in the program. Pay attention to the things they say to pay. They're the pros, not you, So anyway, but that was a bit of a struggle for me early on, and now I'm kind of to a level where I don't deal with that. But yeah, for the first 6 months at least, that was tough. And the other thing that has been a struggle, again, was this idea of not being able to lose weight as fast as I'd like to because I'm putting on the muscle weight. So kind of what I was mentioning earlier, I would have loved to have dropped 20 pounds in, whatever, 6 months or something, I don't know. Or even 20 pounds in this last year. And like I said, it's been a year, and I think I'm maybe I've lost around 15 or something. And I still have a little ways to go. So I know that if all I was doing was focusing on fat loss, I would have lost it by now, I'm pretty sure. But because I'm gaining muscle, thank goodness, that's the whole point of this thing, is to get strong. Like, that's the whole reason I'm doing all of this, is to get strong. So the fact that I'm putting on muscle weight is wonderful. But, it does, like I said, the scale doesn't move very fast. And that can be frustrating at times. So that's why I was saying the measurements is really a better metric to use, less frustrating for sure. Granted, you're not going to measure yourself very often. We weigh ourselves, I weigh myself once a week usually. And where you're not going to measure yourself probably that often because it takes more time and whatnot, but it is a good way, to keep track of things. And there have been a few things that I really did not expect to experience in the first year. And the first thing is just the increased stamina. And honestly, I started noticing that within the first month, like a pretty big difference. And that has been it's been so glorious because I never thought, I don't know, I didn't draw the connection, you know what I mean? And it's because of the exercise, certainly, but it's also because of just tweaking my diet and getting more protein in there, and just balancing things out a little bit better. And that combination it's incredible. Like, it's truly incredible. So that has been really, really wonderful, unexpected, a big surprise. The other thing is that I never expected that I would look forward to going to the gym to work out. I knew that I, would do it, but I kind of thought I'm going to be doing it begrudgingly every time I need to go do it. And that hasn't been the case. I love it. I look forward to it most every time. And so there are a few times where, like, if I'm particularly tired, it takes a little extra effort, of course, to get there. But once I get there and I do my warm up on the treadmill, then I'm good to go. But most of the time, it's a place I look forward to going to. It's just me time, you know, and I get to focus on, you know, just just doing things that are fun and challenging. And so that has been, a pleasant surprise as well. And the other thing is that honestly, I did not expect, certainly within 1 year's time, that my body at the age of now 59 was capable of putting on so much muscle in such a short period of time. I hoped that would be the case, but I did not expect it to be the case. And I have really, you know, the amount of muscle that I have put on that I can just see, and that I, you know, and feel. You can just feel it, you know. I'm so surprised at what's happened just in 1 year's time. You know, that has been truly unexpected as well. So in a nutshell, I am just so grateful I came across the work of Dr. Stacy Sims, and I'm so incredibly grateful to her just for all of the work that she's doing, you know, out there in the world to help women. And I'm proud of myself. You know, I'm proud that I understood the importance of this work and that I got started and that I'm actually doing it. I think it's important that we be proud of ourselves, don't you? I can honestly say that this has literally been one of the best decisions of my life, hands down. And I'm just so excited to continue this journey and to see where it's going to take me. And there's something I really want you to know. If you have been wanting to get started with strength training, or perhaps you started and then you quit and you want to get back into it again, or whatever the case may be, just know this: you are capable of more than you think. You too can do this. You can. And if you do choose to do it, it will change your life in profound ways. You have my word on that. And if you want a little guidance on how to get started, you can either watch the video that I mentioned earlier that will be linked at the end of this video, or you can grab my Before the Lift guide, and either one I think will be really, really helpful to you. Other than that, I just want to say thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you found it interesting or helpful or something along those lines. I will be back real soon with a new video, and in the meantime, I hope you take really good care.